Sáquenme la botella que funda pa' gastarle. Esta noche tú y yo nos vivimos la película. Luce cámara, la acción después en mi recámara. En el duelo no se sabe quién ganará. So baile, baby. Ese seguro y retrocede. Que me encanta la manera en que tú lo mueves.
Solo pégate un poquito, mami, que yo quiero enseñarte lo que yo tengo para ti. Lo que tengo para ti. Te va a encantar como me yo.
What is going on, everybody, man? Here we are in the afternoon time lunch chat. I didn't know about 2 o'clock in the afternoon on the East Coast, of course. I was like, do I say lunchtime chat? Yeah, I go, you know what?
Yeah.
Bryan says it's the lunchtime chat, usually on his side. So you know what? I'm going to continue the tradition. And as I talk about continuing these traditions, hey, my co-host Gametime Bryan is in the house. What's going on? Gametime, sir.
Well, I'm doing wonderful, especially when I'm with Phil. Again, I got started with Phil. I appreciate Phil. Yeah, Phil has a life, everybody. So, he's a mover and shaker, but I always cherish our streams together. I can't wait for the draft together. I'm very happy, and I hope that everybody's excited because we're going to be talking some draft, baby. Talking draft, talking some NFC East, and let's go, man. Let's go.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out, okay, what direction we go in this. It's like we could talk about, you know what, just draft, because guess what? It doesn't matter what we talk about. We're going to end up back into the draft and what we may need, what we may not need. But people have their opinions. I think this is the time to come out with them. I mean, we're getting closer. We're past that time where the combine has affected your rankings, and now you got guys like Bond. All of a sudden, there's an arrest warrant and all this stuff, and this could affect things where they shift. But for the most part, I mean, everybody's got their rankings. We were just talking about right before we jumped on here about Dane Brugler and his amazing. I don't even know what to talk about. I talk about the man, but I also talk about the legend that he is.
I almost, because I was telling Phil, everybody, he's got over 500 pages. That's a unbelievable amount. He covers everything, but I almost hit print all.
No.
Oh, God, that would have been nasty. So I just printed the position groups.
Cancel order.
Yeah. So I was smart enough. I took the extra time to, page 230, whatever. I picked out each position group. But it really is a great tool for you guys at home. Again, I'm not getting paid by The Athletic. And I know Phil, he always digs Dane. And again, I don't always agree. We don't agree with line by line, but it's nice having the information in front of us that we have lives, right? We don't have time to do that. We're not getting paid by The Athletic to do that. But yes, it's awesome. But Vince P, what's up, brother? How are you? Welcome to the channel. I hope everybody likes, subscribes, and most importantly, shares the stream. Freddie Trejo,
right now I'm trying to get everybody up there so we can kind of see who is in the chat.
Yeah, I see it. I know.
So I'm popping it up. But one of our favorite things, and I think you kind of hit it there, where when we're talking about this draft needs, everybody has their opinion about the first round. Everybody has their opinion. What position is most important. I think we all can agree what positions are needed. I think that's something, and as I get closer to this draft, and I love this time of year, I do. I didn't like it as much before, and now you look at it, we had a lot of time before where you could scout every single person. So when you have him giving you a paragraph or so about each person, you can only go through so much film, and as much film as you try to find, I like to try to find the film with everything, where you can find the weaknesses, and okay, this is what we're having trouble with, because most of the time when you see a highlight film, it's what's positive about him, and you got to kind of pick out the negative from those positive reels sometimes, and so it can make it a little bit difficult.
Well, and you say that, right? You say, because I've been getting a lot of, I don't want Ashton Genty. Now, listen, guys, girls, he's not going to be there for us. So that's not a problem. But please don't look at one bowl game and say, well, he didn't do good against whoever. I mean, who did he, you know what I mean? Do not look at that. I trust what I trust. Ashton Genty is far and away the best running back, but that doesn't mean there aren't good running backs. So just don't look at one game and don't look at the highlights, because that's where you go down, where you go wrong. And after the first round, this is my concern, Phil, when it comes to guys like Shamar Stewart, guys like Michael Williams, who are clearly athletically above the rest, right? But they have shown that they have a lot of room to grow when it comes to their NFL futures as far as pass rushers. You know what I mean? Now, to me, Phil, I don't know. What do you think? Like, when you start talking traits, you sure as heck don't want to talk traits in round one, do you? You want to go with
a proven, proven guy. Yeah. And I think that's what the NFL draft gamble is the fact that you got all these guys maybe ranked within the same. Oh, this is a 2-3 round kind of guy. And they're all ranked that way. It's just which one is going to put in the hard work, which one's going to understand the coaching, which one's going to, let's be real. Sometimes the scheduler, who you have in front of you, if you're a starter, not in the sense of your starter, but like if you're a starter somewhere and then maybe you have somebody in front of you that can teach you a little bit more. So, everything is going to determine on whether you're an NFL, bust or if you make it, or you're a Pro Bowl or Hall of Famer. I don't even know what to say, because there's so many levels of what type of NFL player that you can become. And I think everything can go down to the fact that nobody wants to be the bust. Nobody wants to be a bust. And so nobody wants to pick the bust. And so, you have to give these guys a couple of years.
No more elevators.
No more elevators. I love that.
Sorry. Didn't mean to
I had to. I thought it was funny. As soon as I saw it, I popped it up.
I love, just everybody real quick, I love the Dallas Cowboys on the clock with the skyline in the back. That's
Thank you,
that's
man.
Awesome, bro.
Thank you. That was what I did within the an hour or whatever that I had. So it made it work.
That's awesome, man. Maybe you could send that one to me for us.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll make sure I only use it when Phil's on.
No, man.
But,
and the thing about it is,
I gotta figure that out.
I have to try to get you ones that are blank, so you can put other people's names in there as well too.
Yeah.
But I you know that I have no problem sharing with that.
And what you were saying, Phil, I mean, where we're drafting number 12. Obviously, we keep hearing about the Mozzie Smith. You got to remember, people, where the Eagles are drafting, where this year, and where Dallas was drafting when we drafted Mozzie. I think it was 27, maybe 26. Put it in the comments, but I think it was 27. That's a different story. Now you're getting into, we have no more first-round graded guys. Now you're talking your second round. Some people had Mozzie in the third round, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, let's be real. Like, let's say you were waiting,
right?
Let's say you were waiting to that second round pick or whatever that you ended up picking Hendershot. Is that right? No, not Hendershot. What's his name? The other one, Luke Schoonmaker. There it is. And so instead of picking him, let's say you were to pick Mozzie at that spot. Maybe people would feel a little bit better about that pick. But from what was word, I mean, he wasn't going to make it past that end of that first round anyway. So it's hard to say where, maybe him playing behind Chris Jones would have done a little bit better for the start of his career. But everybody knows, round 3 or year 3 or 4, you've talked about it many times, that those are usually the breakout years for the defensive tackles, unless you're a top 10 type of talent. And so I think that's a good area that you can look at, in this upcoming draft. Is there a defensive tackle that is worth the top 10? Yes, I think we have mentioned that, right? Michigan's guy. I am not off the top of my head. Yeah, and so, I think that's a good judgment. So let's see how his first year ends up being, how his second year. Those usually are they have better in those first 2 years than those other guys. But anyways, to circle back around when we're talking about Mozzie and that pick, where were we going to go? I mean, we had our guys that we wanted. Have those guys been all-stars as well? I would say probably not.
No, not really. I mean, remember at the time, me personally,
I wanted Joey Porter Jr. Maybe I wanted,
we were talking Joey Porter. Yeah. We were talking Nolan Smith, right? We were talking, looking at the list, we're like, wow, he's highly rated at this point, and now Nolan is just starting to come around, Eagle fans. It took Nolan a couple years, right? So for all you Mozzie haters saying he's a bust, or you Tyler Guyton people saying he's a bust, keep it real, keep it 100. Tyler Guyton had 1 year, okay? Nolan Smith, come on now. So anyway, yes, that's what we were talking about. And although they're good players, Ultra wanted Kincaid, yeah, and I think they wanted Kincaid too, Ultra.
That was
but
a good one, though. Yeah.
we got
Buffalo
jumped.
snatched. Yeah, we got
again.
jumped. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so, and this is a good segue, Ultra. Thank you. Talking about getting jumped, I did a morning video this morning on the way to getting blood work, and I brought up Phil, and we were, I was basically talking about. I want to hear what Phil has to say. This year they are doing their due diligence. I'm not saying it's all smoke screens, but I think they have a good idea who they're drafting based on. They're only drafting number 12. Only so many guys can get drafted, Phil.
Yeah, they pick 16 players. One of those guys are going to be there.
Don't you think that they're doing a good job, with the smoke and just making sure they cover all their bases, bringing in all the top guys?
Yeah, I mean, would you have liked to sign bigger name agents in the beginning where like, oh yeah, I guess I get it. I mean, I totally get it, but was there a lot of game changing ones? I mean, was there a TJ Watt, kind of guy out there, I don't know. I can't say there necessarily was, but there were some guys I definitely wanted to, least, I don't know, man. Just think about it for a second. It just seems like they don't think about it for that moment. And you're hoping that maybe the scouting department, that Will McClay and all of them, and know what they're doing is really getting into the ear, at least going out and getting some of these guys. When you're looking at some of the guys that left and compared to one of the guys that came, I'm excited about these defensive line. At least some of the guys that we picked up. At least it makes it feel like 2 years ago, those people that we lost, we kind of have filled those holes that we didn't get to last year. So I definitely agree with you. It's just where is this team going to go? They know where they're going to go. We just have no clue. But if you're picking,
and this year's rough for me, man. I mean,
it is.
Rough
it is.
Like a good way, because I like the suspense of it all. I don't mind. And listen, Ultra's on. I mean, Ultra's right. Shamar Stewart is an absolute beast. Shamar Stewart is that guy. I'm just curious where he's going to go. If Golden somehow is gone, I think I'm right with Ultra. I think they take Shamar over Tet, and people are going to get upset with that. Again, every day changes with me, but I have it narrowed down to a few guys.
I almost wanted to be here so we can just figure out who the heck is going to be on this team, man. It's like I get it.
Yeah, well, Golden's tweeting pictures of CD. Again, you know how Jerry Jones is. Sometimes the last person in his ear is the loudest person in his ear, but
True.
They have ties to Texas, which is why you see them talking to Ewers. Now, I don't know. I hate to say it, guys. Clemente, hook them. I say you're in the chat, bro. But I don't believe they're taking Ewers. I think Ewers is going to go higher than where they would want him, especially now with getting Milton. I think look out, in my opinion, Phil. Look out for a free agent rookie quarterback after the draft. I don't know. What's your thought on that?
Yeah, before I was all about picking somebody within this draft. I'm not about that anymore. I feel like with the picks that we have, I best player available maybe in that scenario where there's someone that drops down so much where you're like, okay, I gotta pick him. Maybe one of those type of things, but I'm not, now that I have Joe Milton there, I'm not betting the future on him. Don't get me wrong. Don't put that. But at least I feel good about the prospect
how that
of
works,
the future.
right, Phil?
Yeah.
Like, God forbid we say anything positive. All of a sudden, no, he's the next best thing.
Yeah.
Really?
No.
Okay.
I'm just saying it's
He's
a lot better
nip-doo,
than
people.
Trey Lance, a Cooper Rush type of thing. I feel like he can move around in the pocket. It's just, to me, I think the baffling thing when I think about the free agencies that they've done is just the interior offensive line they keep adding. It's like, what do you see that I don't see? That's what I'm curious about.
And listen, I know everybody thinks that Phil and I know everything. We don't. Again, we're at the mercy of what you guys are at the mercy of. That's the difference. I'm not here to say anything listen, Ultra does the due diligence. I give him a lot of credit. People go, wow, you really shout out Ultra, because he knows his shit. Yeah, he has an awesome sense of humor as well, and he likes to dig people. Sometimes they can't handle it, but it is what it is. I think it's funny, but we don't know everything. We're at the mercy. And stay tuned for my 4.0 mock. I got 2 more mocks before I'll have my final, but it's what I'm hearing now, Phil, right? It's what we're hearing how I'm kind of absorbing the information and trying to spit out what I think is BS. Shout out, just stay tuned because I got a hot one. I got a hot one coming out. Probably tomorrow, but yes. You do know about trolling, Ultra. You do. It's hysterical. Momo can't handle it. We got to go easy on Momo and Mark for a little bit, and then we can get him again. Yeah, I don't know, Phil. I think that the smoke is real, but I think Golden. I keep coming back to Golden, and all I would say to you, Phil, is I just looking at the teams and what they
wide
need.
receiver.
I think
That's what I want. I want a wide receiver in the first round.
Down to get Golden, though, but I know that's risky.
Here's the thing: unless you're trading down to 15, 16 and you still had Tech, Golden, and Ibuka there, then I'm all about trading down in those spots. But otherwise, if you're going only one of them is there, I'm not trying to trade back. I want that star.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I was going to ask you. If Tech's gone, then you're just going to take Golden. My thing to you is, how about if Shedeur Sanders is there? Ted McMillan is there.
Oh, I'm trading you back. Yeah.
You have to try and trade back a few picks because as much as I love Golden, if Ibuka is going to be there, and he's probably the safest of all picks at 18, 19, or 20.
Yeah,
possibly 20.
To me, you got to take one of those receivers if they're available.
Shedeur, right, to trade down.
Well, remember that year we were talking all about corners. We need a corner. There's going to be sitting there. We're going to be sitting at number 9. I don't even remember what that spot was. It was in there 10. It could be 10. We got corner. We got J.C. Horn. We're going to be, I don't even remember the corners, all of them that were there. It was the other guy from Denver. I can't think of his name. The main corner. That was Surtain.
Surtain?
Yeah. And so they were there, and so we're talking about those all, thinking about that, and then all of a sudden it was wiped. Those guys where we didn't think those guys were going to be picked.
They were wiped, and we ended up with a scrub named Micah.
Yeah, scrub named Micah. Where we traded back and allowed 2 NFC East teams to pick in front of us, and we still ended up with Micah. So, I mean, let's be real, because the New York Giants could have honestly picked it.
What's up, brother? Aren't you supposed to be outside doing something? Thanks, Mark.
He said move down 6 spots from 12 and pick Hampton, round 2 pickup receiver. Look at him. Hampton, he likes Hampton. I'm not against Hampton. Again,
Mark. I'm not going to hate you, bro. I'm not. That's okay.
There's two running backs that I think are above everybody else. Genty is definitely that tier 1, Amario Hampton is just a tad bit better than these other guys as well, and so I'm okay with picking him exactly if you're doing what Mark says here, and if you're trading back, getting some value to it. And everybody talks about, well, you might not be there. Well, guess what? That's the gamble that you made, and if somehow somebody picks you before that, I mean, that's 18th to the 18th spot. That'd be crazy. But if that's the way it is, then I'm pretty sure somebody else is there that you can pretty much settle with. At least you got your value. So I'm okay with this. I'm great with this, Mark.
I don't have a problem with that either, Mark, but this is what I'm thinking then. This is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, okay, now I'm on high alert, right? I'm on high alert to possibly get back into the first round to take Golden or Ibuka, more likely Ibuka. Because when you look at the teams that need wide receivers, a lot of them address them. Now, I mean, I'd have to look at I know by doing my mocks, after us, there's a drop-off until you get to Seattle. And Seattle did go out and get Cooper Kupp, but I don't know that that's going to stop them. I still think that Seattle goes guard in round 1. So it's just very interesting, to see what's going to happen. These quarterbacks are flying up the boards, Phil. But the fact that we have Ibuka still sitting there with Golden and McMillan and Sanders possibly, or if not Sanders, you have Jackson Dart and Will Howard. People are coming up for them. They're not making it out of the first round. I don't care what anybody says. Jackson Dart's a first-round pick, and I'm telling you, Will Howard's the first-round pick. So think about those guys as options with the Steelers, with a lot of teams. They're not going to be there in the second round. Jesse Montanez, if you want your quarterback, don't wait. I'm telling you, be aggressive. And that only helps the Cowboys. So, that's just how I like it. If Pittsburgh jumps to 12, I want Zach Frazier, and they're 21. Good. I like Frazier as a center. That's who we talked about last year, right, Phil?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's out of West Virginia, I believe.
When yeah, I've seen a lot of mocks as well where we're getting offensive line is a pick. Again, it's one of those things. I want a specialist. I would say more in the sense of wide receiver with running back, things like that, guys that you could focus on the position. But man, those aren't. I can't get mad at that stuff. It's just that you would be increasing a big thing that would help the whole offense by putting somebody in there that is worthy of that first round. Right. Put him in there. I was all the way in the back. I had to kind of settle with what came. You get a pick of that first offensive line, if not the first couple. That's why I say the receiver. You're picking the top of the tier when you got some of these guys, but you're improving no matter what that offense somehow. And or defenses. I hear is a big. Brugler talks about it. Defense, whether it's corner, whether it's defense tackle, defensive edge, I don't know what it is, but he's hearing nothing but defense. And you got to put some kind of belief into that as well, even though I don't want to believe it.
Yeah, and we're waiting on Will Johnson to potentially run his 40. I heard Ultra. When is it? I think it's April 14th. I know that shouldn't matter. We drafted Diggs without a 40. I get it. It really shouldn't matter, but he's not a perfect prospect, Will Johnson. I would love Will Johnson, where we drafted Mozzie in that spot. He's not going to last because of his traits, but we have to wait and see. Yeah, 14th, right? Yeah, I thought so, Ultra. Sometimes my days, like without the liquid gold, I'm mushed. But we got it, so we're on cup number 2. But so we're good. But yeah, I like where we sit. I do. I like when we're on the clock, I'm hoping we see old Jerry. I know it. I mean, I get what you're saying about you don't want to trade down, but again, Golden's probably, that's probably not a first round graded guy, right?
But hold on. But at the same time, when we are 7-8 games into the season and we need that first down or we need a breakout play, and he goes, we didn't give a shit where we picked him, by that point. And so
right.
Like if he's a game changer, and to me, I talk about everyone, we talk about Tet. He goes up for the 50-50 balls. He doesn't always get open with his things. Now with Ibuka, he runs his great routes. Does he win 50-50 balls? Yeah, it's there. But he's always the number 2 wide receiver, so he knows how to be that. Okay, that's a great thing, but that's also a slap in the face to somebody as well. But when you look at Golden, he's an all-around wide receiver. And again, I've said this many times about him. He doesn't talk the talk. He walks the walk of other people's talk. And I think that I love in a wide receiver. Just goes out and just produces. And you got to get behind that. And if you're picking that at 12, then damn it, that's what you're doing. And I still love it.
I would say this, Amari Cooper, he may be a little taller than Golden, because I was talking to Mark yesterday on the way home from work. He had called me, and I was recording a video, so I called him back when I got home, and he was like, his thing is Golden is only 5'11". I'm like, okay, but I want somebody, to me, it's the best of both worlds. What scares me about T-Mac Tetaroa is that his route running, his route running is not the best. But again, Phil is the one who's calming me down regarding that. But I am going to be holding my breath until we see him in games against NFL corners. Can he be elite at the NFL level? What's good with Tet McMillan is his go-get-it attitude and his with the ball in his hands. But there we go. Mark Hutchinson in the house, brother.
But that's what I'm saying. You still and he says it here. He goes, the problem I have with picking a wide receiver first, Prescott will not have a good option whether it's protecting and running about. But if Genty's gone, I mean, and you're going back. But if you picked your wide receiver, I still feel like you're going to get a good running back in the second. If you're going to go offensive line, I feel like you can get a great offensive lineman in the second. So I think you're still set up to do that. It's just now you have that guy. I mean, our problem I think last year was that Jake Ferguson kind of disappeared a little bit. Let's be real, man. Jake's our man, but he disappeared a little bit, and Brandon Cooks never kind of popped back up. And let's be in as much as Tolbert has potential, that's all it's been right now, and it's been really good flashes, better last year than it was before. So at least it's kind of trending upwards, and you have at least some hope there. But I will want to have that proven guy that on a third down, that if you're in a route like Ibuka, at least you're going to be there. I can throw it to that spot. Maybe with Tech McMillan, I can throw it up to a 50-50 ball to go get that shit, It's like, and then there's also, because, as much as I love CD, unless you hit his hands, he's not coming back and going getting it. And you need that guy. So if you got those two guys and then you got a third all-around receiver, you can just use that all-around receiver to do whatever the heck you need. So, but I love the wide. Yeah.
Agreed, man. That's why I don't have a problem with McMillan. I keep flip-flopping. I know people say, but that's a good problem to have. This is why I didn't want us to win coming down the stretch. Thank God. That last game was big because we're right on the cusp.
We could have been 15-16, easily. Yeah. We were talking about being 16, right? I think.
Yeah, it was one win would have done it, and we know we're better than that. Hey, to hell with the haters. We know. Happy birthday, Matt. Happy birthday, brother. I know it's Wednesday. Is it next Wednesday? Okay, we'll make sure that
early one.
I want to see if I can get Phil on my channel Wednesday night. I'm throwing it out here. Maybe me and Phil can do a live stream without the channel members and maybe add them in later, but I want to do more draft talk. We got a week and a half. We need to get it in. We do. So stay tuned on that. So, but yeah, we'll do a tribute to happy birthday, Matt, on Wednesday night. So
thank you, Mark.
We got to get Phil to 2,000.
Yeah, man. I look at my number. Oh yeah, I guess I got to kind of push that more a little bit. I don't really. Yeah.
Well, Virus was texting me, and he was like, Phil, and we were talking about Phil. I'm like, I said, he's got so much going on. I said, how YouTube is if you don't do the volume of shit every day, they don't really put you on people's pages. So that's why we got to get him to 2,000 subscribers, in the next, a couple of weeks. But we need another loser or two, a Coyote. Again, I'm okay with not getting Genty, the Coyote. You know what I mean? I'm okay with not having Genty. I actually think it's smart not to go running back in round one, but I understand what Mark Hudson
if there's a guy, if Genty slips somehow, I as much as I love those wide receivers, I'm like, I really like him, and I'm all about getting that guy that you have to kind of game plan a whole game plan around. Oh, the running game, that is your guy, and so if you
I think if he goes, it's better for us. Sorry, everybody.
It would be, but at the same time, it'd be great for us as well if we got him.
Well, because I want to trade down. That's kind of where I'm at. I want to be trade down to the high teens and 20, unless something happens. And I want to use Shedeur Sanders as a trade down, not only to get value, because you're going to get maximum value if there's quarterbacks on the board, which there will be. And I'm not one who thinks Dart's going to go in the top 10, but if he does, that only helps us, people. That only helps the Cowboys. We're hearing Dart is going before Sanders now. Get ready. Wow, Jackson Dart is going to go before Shedeur Sanders. And if he's sitting there at number 12 and we don't take him, Phil, Primetime, the original, Neon Dion, is going to freak out. But we're not taking them. Sorry. Dart to the Steelers.
I mean, let's be real. It'd be a little weird if they were that one that was dropping in the thing where we're talking about Melrose. They could be that awkward sitting there, and Sanders is not going to not be there. He's going to be sitting there with his kids. So obviously that's going to be a thing. So if he doesn't get in that top 5, I mean, there's always a possibility, I guess, if people aren't trading up to go get him.
Melrose to the Giants. Book it. Round 2. Jesse will be upset, Vinny. Jalen Milroe going to the Giants in round 2. That's an early prediction, but who knows? It goes in, it changes. But that's how I'm feeling right now.
Yeah, that's to be a pain in the ass kind of prediction. That's what it is.
Well, I mean, I'm just telling you, the Giants are going to get a good player at number 3. They could have had the number 1 overall pick. That's the problem. Because they won a game for what? For who? For what? Right, Ricky Waters? For who? For what?
But that's what I'm saying. When I talked about it, seeing where Jackson Dart, Pittsburgh, we've talked about where Yeah, that to me makes a lot of sense there. You're taking him a lot. It's just where you value it, and if you don't have a quarterback, I mean, you got to value it pretty high, and at least that's a really good prospect to put your hopes and dreams around. That's why I wonder if he did slip out of there. Those you still got those couple of, depending on what they did in the beginning, you still got those couple of guys up in there in the top that he could easily go away early in that day too. So it's going to be an interesting draft. I like, again, I love a lot of these prospects. So seeing them play for other teams, that's always the heartbreaking ones. But later on, when they release or somebody kind of, just kind of wants to do these trades, you know these guys. You're like, okay, I remember him. I remember his film. I remember being really high on him. And I think the Cowboys do that as well, too. You see that when they go back and they trade for some of these guns, Mingos, where we're all like, what the heck? They had a third-round draft pick on third-rounder on Mingo, and they get him for a fourth or so. Or did they have a second-round on him? I can't even remember. But
on who?
On Mingo. That's what I'm talking about. When sometimes they get that draft, I pick him.
When Mingo was taken, Dallas was looking at him. They had a high grade on him.
Yeah,
that's why they gave it to him. Mingo was drafted in the top 5 picks of the second round, which is nowadays it's easy for these clubs, right, Phil? You draft round 1, you get to go home and sleep and look at your board and go, oh my God, this guy's still on the board. And usually the players at the top of the second round are big time talented players.
Yeah.
They have a lot of hope, and in their minds, Mingo is going to be that guy, which kind of leads me to believe that if that's why you're seeing Will Johnson's work out with Dallas. That's why you're seeing Shamar Stewart's. You're seeing other guys. That's why you're seeing O'Marion Hampton. That's why you're seeing that, because they have high hopes for Mingo. But that doesn't mean that you don't take a wide receiver. You can never have too much in this day and age, especially with the rules. Mingo is still a question mark, as much as they have high expectations. Yeah, I just don't want a Jalen. I don't know. I'm sorry. I have enough Jalen's in my life. I don't need any more. So please, we got Jalen Moreno Cropper. We got Jalen Tolbert.
They'll give you a Jaden, like a Jaden Higgins.
Brooks. Yeah. We can do a Jaden.
Jaden.
We can do a Jaden. Jaden. Yes, we can do that. Yeah. Two teams were jumping in front of us, Cowboys. That's what happens, Mark. That's why I like the smoke screens, man.
Yeah, you don't know. I mean, that's why you see offensive linemen being picked, defensive tackles. I think that was a big one.
Thanks,
Walter
man.
Nolan, and then all of a sudden that disappeared. Running backs, wide receivers. I've even seen tight ends. Tyler Warren coming out of there, and you're just like, okay, I would never have thought that, but but if you're in a position where you can and you feel that you can pick best player available, maybe that is the guy that's sitting there, and that would be Tyler Warren, I think that would be really one of those ones where a lot of Cowboy Nation would be upset with the pick, and that's right down Cowboys alley, right? I mean, that's what we're known for, but hoping
it's
that
one of
Schottenheimer
those
brings a
things
different
where, Phil, I would be excited after the pick. I mean, there would be a little bit of, okay, but then after I've absorbed it and realized he's going to be in our offense, I would love the pick.
Yeah.
Again, this is what I want in round 1. This is for round 1 only. This is where I think we get in trouble after that sometimes when we try and get too cute and get specific. Just take round 1. Give me a high, talented player. And if it's Tyler Warren, I love Tyler Warren, so I'd be okay with it. But who's on the board, and where do they have him rating? I would love to see a picture of that. Hey, Jerry, just send me the picture of your draft board on draft day, and I won't.
Oh, don't worry. He'll accidentally share it.
I won't share it. You can trust me, Jerry. I just want to know, because I feel like, Phil, sometimes they have multiple draft boards. And after the draft, they send out a picture. This is where we had them. And meanwhile, this draft board number 4 that they're actually sending. So I don't know.
Well, you saw that draft room. That was an amazing technology that was in there. That was, wow. I got to give
I feel
credit.
like you need to be in there.
Man, I need to build me a room like that. That's what I got to do. It's got to get
Imagine
that same
if we were in the
contract.
draft. I would get kicked out. I would be yelling at Forehead and say, "Get the hell away from your grandfather. You don't know what you're doing. Move away. Get him out of here." I would be kicked out of the Star probably. But that was awesome. Me and Phil took the tour of the Star. It was almost too nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was almost too nice. So Mark
You don't-
Hutchins says 3 quarterbacks will be going in the top 10.
Yeah, I feel like you don't work as hard when you get such a nice area. You know, like
Yeah,
I already
exactly.
made it. You don't need to
Well,
work any
Phil
harder.
knows. Phil
No.
knows. Well, that's not right. You work hard, and you're in a beautiful.
I still got to
hotel.
make it though. I still got to make it.
Yeah,
I'm not running the
you're
hotel.
on your way, bro.
So yeah.
This is what I need you to do. I need you to like get so big that you could score us a room, and we could have like a get together in South Florida. Have like a channel member.
I want to be able to get so big that I can make
weekend.
events happen at places, and it's
There you go.
you know, that
I
that
told
kinda-
everybody Phil's got to get some video of his next event that he sets up. Where like, you think this is nice what he's doing here
Oh,
with the
man.
graphics? He's got a whole ballroom with movie theater screens like side by each. And he's got a
LED
program.
screens and all big
Oh, that's
huge programs. Under the sea, I want to have my dinner under the sea, and so it's we do some crazy stuff, man. It's amazing, the team, especially when you see our team roll in. You know, there's a huge amount of production that gets done. So
There's no I in team, exactly.
but there is a me. No, okay, sorry.
Vinny wants to know what you do for a living.
I work for an audio visual company, so I did a big productions, big concerts, big meeting. Maybe we're doing big huge conventions and
Basically
maybe an
sits down
outside.
with the
I
client
want to
and say,
have
"What are you
all
looking
this
for?"
cafe and beach huge lighting, and maybe I want a
Yeah.
big huge brandings and things like that. So you think of AVs and lighting and all that kind of stuff. So this here, big production where you see the graphics, we'll do those type of things like that. I don't do those graphics, which is kind of crazy. So if you think about it, there's people in the company that actually do that stuff. So this is just more of the hobby side of it. But yeah, man,
That's why I was telling Phil on his channel, he's got to start, because I have to start doing more. And as I do it, I realize the engagement that it does. Like, we got to start putting more pictures of us on the community tab, because it's emailed to the channel members. Or you could do it.
I forget all about it sometimes. Sometimes only when I'm gonna
Yeah, I
miss
know,
something.
me too. It's
Yeah.
like another opportunity to say, "Hey, this is how much mail I have on a given day. It's a shit show today. Welcome to my world." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So was like, "Hey, I just did this," and just do like a quick little video and put it on your community tab. Just again, it's the limits are endless or boundless, whatever they say. He's
Yeah,
very
it's-
busy, Vinny.
Oh,
He's very,
super
very
busy.
busy.
Yeah, so it's like, and then right now I'm in this talks about possibly getting in a promotion possibility of going and taking care of 2 more other locations. You get busier. I think that's what's funnier. It's just like to get even busier. But I really like this, and I was telling Bryan as well right before we came on there. I was like, this is my relaxing. This is my kind of getaway. This relaxes
I
me.
like the afternoons.
Even when I'm
Sometimes
yelling.
not doing that.
You do a great job in the afternoons, man. I thought you kind of own it now.
I like the afternoon, just doing something, especially here. It's so miserable here, Phil. It's like rainy. I was supposed to have my guy come up and hook up my hot tub that I got delivered.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll get into that later. But so it's
He's gonna do some,
there's no water.
broadcasts out there.
I'm gonna do some broadcasting from the
Ooh, my
hot tub.
nipples are
There we
little
go.
hot.
But Vinny, maybe you should come here on draft night. Problem is, I gotta work the next day, so you gotta get out right after. But I could hook up a mic. You could be on camera on my couch watching on the 75-inch screen while me and Phil were screaming, "Why the F did they take that?" That would be funny. So eventually we'll do that, Vinny. What would you get at 12? Running back and receiver?
If
Or
if neither one of those
not
were an
enough.
option,
Go
let's
ahead.
see. That's a
Phil.
nice one.
I
like
have
that.
my.
that.
I mean, I have an idea, but go ahead.
Man, at 12, if I had to sit there and pick at 12, and I couldn't go anywhere else, I couldn't go back down, I couldn't do anything, I didn't have a wide receiver, I would probably, unfortunately, piss people off and take an edge rusher. I'd probably take a Mike Green. I really like his nastiness. I love his. He has these moves. So that would probably be a pick that I would go with and be very excited about what he's going to bring to that defense. And get Nealon. Yeah, you were hurt last year, and Sam Williams, get your ass back into the rotation because I'm gonna have him in the starting spot, and I really want to punish some guys from one side and the other side. So I would be all about it. Great question.
Yeah.
Mark.
Now, stay tuned for my. I'm gonna probably do it when we're done here. I'll probably record my 4.0. I don't know when I'm gonna release it today. Maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. But Listen, I think when I first started this process, Mark Hutchinson, I was like Mason Graham could drop to us. I know every mock draft has Mason Graham going high. Mason Graham may drop to us. So, what would I take if running back and receiver are gone? As it sits right now, without Mason Graham dropping to us, I would take.
Oh my God, I'm ready.
I would probably take probably an edge rusher, Jalen Walker if he's there, or Shamar Stewart or somebody like that. Possibly, I don't think Warren's getting to us. So,
Oh my God.
but if he's there, just give me
That shit
an
made
unbelievable
laugh so
athlete.
hard. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
What happened?
He said I need to make a shirt that says I hate elevators.
Oh shit! Yeah, dude, I would buy it.
As I
buy it.
say it out loud again, I laugh again. That's awesome.
And then just like put the picture. Mark does that all the time. Just put the picture of yourself
Boy, I was
taking a
stuck in-
picture.
taking
That
a
was a
picture.
nice elevator, though. If you got to get stopped in an elevator, that was decent size. I've been in elevators it's ridiculous. But let me ask you a question, and everybody in the chat. This is an honest. I want your honest answer. Don't just say, "Oh, f that."
Okay.
If Mason Graham is on the board, let's say Shador does go top 10, and let's say Tet's gone, right? Let's say you're looking at Mason Graham at 12, Matthew Golden. Now what? Now what do you do? Let's say Omarion Hampton, Mason Graham, and Matthew Golden are on the clock. McMillan's gone. Shador Sanders, can't use him. He's gone. What do you do? Do you take
I would-
Mason Graham?
I would take Graham. I would have to take Graham. It's one of those things. At least there's a
problem.
huge drop. There's a huge drop between where the defensive tackle is, where he's at, in the next level. For me, and I see it on the tape, and getting over through two defensive linemen are trying to take him getting through those blocks and just being a menace. So yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things you have to. He's
That's
the best
thing.
player available.
You have to take him, right?
Yeah, yes.
But
You-
that wouldn't. That
CeeDee
that's
Lamb type
not
of
my
situation.
mental. It doesn't fit in my okay. Well, in round 2, I know we have this many players. We could wait on round 3 for a defensive tackle. Well, now you kind of throwing that whole mix up, and that kind of bothers me. But I'm taking the best player. But now it's like, oh my God, now we may not get a wide receiver because we can't wait past 44 for a running back, or do we? And it's like, if you look at the running backs, the wide receivers after the first round, there's not many. So it's like there are some, but not. You're not going to get somebody that's going to be better than a Mingo potentially, or one of our.
But if you think of Graham and Osa together with the
love it.
combination of a Parsons added in there with a Sam Williams or Nealon, I like that possibility. I definitely get more excited about it because I know my interior is a lot set than it was been 7-8 years. I don't even
agree
know how
with
long
you.
it's been. So it feels like safety to me.
And that's why I started out saying that he's the one position, just based on the player. He's not this unbelievably explosive athlete. He's a very good football player, Mason Graham. But he comes to the University of Michigan. That scares people. So that would be interesting to see what a lot of the Cowboys fans would think in Dallas, because they love their Longhorns. They love Matthew Golden. If Tet's gone, that's even easier to take Golden. But if Graham's there, that's going to be tough for my, Longhorn fans. I know, but I think you need to draft the best player, people.
Mhm.
If Mason Graham is there,
And then there's some guys, like, for example, that, like, even if he was to drop past Jacksonville, and even to drop, there's just guys there that I feel that are going to pick him, and that's why that's one of those scenarios that you're like, oh, if somebody tells you, well, he's not going to be there. Oh, I definitely get your argument. But he's saying, in the possibility, if all this crazy stuff happened and Graham slipped somehow, would you take him? I would have to, man. It was just his body of work says a lot about what he's going to bring to this Cowboys, even if it's within the first 2 or 3 years and he kind of slips whatever. At least that right there is a great thing to build on.
Matt Batten says draft Will Johnson if he's on the board. Best player available. Disagree, guys. Again, Matt. I would say I would find it hard to believe that any mock. I want like a Dane's top 100. He's got, I'll just give you the top 15. He's got Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, Ashton Genty. I've been saying that all along. Mason Graham number 4. So a guy who does this for a living has Graham rated as the 4th best prospect in the draft. He's got Jalen Walker. We could talk about him a little bit. Will Campbell, Armand Membu, Tyler Warren at 8, Shamar Stewart at 9, Mike Green at 10. There you go. The battle has begun. They would probably lean Shamar Stewart, Phil, but I'm with you. I like Mike Green, but I don't see them taking Green. Loveland at 11, Tet McMillan at 12, Cam Ward at 13. So you're saying you have Matt Batten, you have them, you like Johnson. Will Johnson is 18 on Dane's list. Now,
I don't look at any corner and go, I'm always extremely wary about picking corner in the first round. That right there to me is always, because Morris Claiborne, all these kind of guys that I can just all of a sudden start blurting out. And I've seen that all across the league. But again, there are some guys that are just worthy of it, and they have their ups and downs. Sauce Gardner, those things. You would have those people that would argue with you about that. But I just, when I look at Will Johnson, I think he's great in the short game. It's when you go downfield, his lack of speed a little bit. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that he's going to, that he's slow. What I'm saying is that you got a wide receiver that's going his full speed, and we know these wide receivers and what they're clocking, and this guy's backpedaling and then having to switch. He tends to, there's a little bit of a wasted motion. I know Cowboys, we've had a problem with allowing those deeper passes. So that's why I worry about guys like that, and I worry about corners in general in the first round.
And I love Jody Barron as a best overall. I
worry about it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a smaller guy. I think he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. I love Makuba, yet another small guy. University of Texas. I think he could possibly come in and play slot. There's a player here. I don't know if you know much about. I know you know the player, but I want to bring him up before we get. Not the right. Yeah. Before we is the cornerback group, because we're talking corners. If we don't get one, we're going to need one at some point. More importantly, we're going to need somebody to play the slot. We just are right now. You got.
You guys aren't going to like who I want. It's just like.
There's a guy who I like in the slot. Yeah. His name is Maxwell Harrison out of Kentucky. What do you think of him? Do you like him? He's a big boy.
I found him out of position a lot, but I don't know if that's because of the coaching. I feel like that was more of the scheme, so it was hard to kind of grade him. I felt like, to me, he was kind of like Byron Jones. Just he was there, or no. Oh, Chidobe Awuzie, I think that's a better way, where he was there, but he's never there to swat the ball or intercept it. He's just there to watch it. He's the first person to see the pass happen. So that's kind of what I get from him, and I know that's very harsh, but that's, again, I'm very harsh when it comes to these corners, because you have to be top, or you're going to get burnt, or you're going to have you're going to have that goldfish memory. But he is, again, yeah, you're very right, Vinny. He is fast. But I don't know. I can't tell how his football prowess is, because I feel like the coaches played him a little bit out of position. His man-to-man was amazing, but I feel like he was playing out of position a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, I like him. I think he's going to get drafted high. Dane has 1-2 on him. He's from Kentucky, but then, I know what some people are going to say. Oh, well, we had Boss Man Fat. He didn't work. You can't look at it that way. He's a really good football player. We need to find that next slot corner. So that's why corner is definitely going to have to be an issue addressed. We did go out and get Khair Elam. Okay. And, Elam was playing out of position in Buffalo. I'm not sure why they did that. He's a man-to-man guy. Zone guy. Yeah. He's a man-to-man guy, exactly. So, which also is confusing, because our D coordinator doesn't really do that necessarily.
He plays zone. Yeah, he plays zone. That's what it's like.
So I'm very confused, but maybe
you are so correct on that one. That's what was my whole thing.
What I mean? Yeah, I like the player if he's playing up in the grill of a receiver. Now, all I would say, Phil, is that also you got to look at Eberflus. He came from the Rob Ryan 3-4 defense, then morphed into a Rod Marinelli, the 4-3 cover 2, maybe he's gonna do something where obviously
he sees the level of talent maybe within those corners and knows that he needs to go man to man with them to be able to bring their talent to the surface.
Yeah. So maybe they use our corner now and put him back in the slot. I can't think of it. Who's our cornerback, Phil?
You got Diggs, you got Bland, as well.
Deron Bland started in the slot, maybe, but I mean Diggs is not. He may be ready, but and I know they like the seatbelt, but the seatbelt didn't show us squata last year, so we can't be counting on the seatbelt.
I think it's time to give him a ticket because somebody forgot to click it. So let's just say,
click it or ticket. I'm ticketing that bitch until he can show me something.
When I look at some of these corners, though, I do like some of the play of these second, third round corners. That's why I'm not opposed to getting a corner. And again, I love Asante Samuel Jr. I know there's a lot of limitations there. There's a lot of lack of stuff. I do love his prowess.
He can come right in now.
I love his prowess. You could stick him in there in that slot, and it would be great. You can still pick last player available. But when you look at some of these guys in the middle, man, you talk about Maxwell Hairston. Hairston.
Yeah, Hairston. Yeah, Hairston.
He has, again, a talent as you could put it in there and plug him into those corners, and he would definitely elevate that room. Trey Amos, he's a
I love Trey Amos. Matt Patton
definitely plays tackles. Benjamin Morrison is another one that's been ranked there. I haven't watched much on him, so I don't have a whole lot on him. Siobhan Ravel.
Dustin Bosley, be careful, brother.
I really like him. I don't know about the rest of you guys in the sense, but I think he's just a guy that tends to really stick to his man. But then there's other guys that have been shopped around, and we always forget about Wanye's brother. Great
Wanye
corner.
Thomas, Azare Thomas, whatever.
Thank you. I wasn't gonna get that. I wasn't gonna get that, so I'm gonna be real.
I probably butchered it, but that's kind of what I got.
But no.
Azare Thomas, he's kind of. You were saying he had a bad pro day.
Yes, but he, again, when you look at his tape, man, he was on fire to me. That was the one part of that, and that Florida State didn't have a whole lot of bright, spots on that whole team. As soon as I saw that quarterback coming in, I was like, that kind of goes where that team's not going to go great. I like the East Carolina cornerback. He's great. East Carolina, who's that? Oh yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm thinking about the purple.
Siobhan Ravel.
Yeah. Sorry. I was
He's one that had hip injuries, so
he has.
I'm a little concerned about him.
Yes, but added into the injury, the backfield, right?
Yeah. Now there's a guy, you had mentioned Iowa State. You love Higgins, the receiver. I'm with you. There's a corner out of Iowa State.
A lot of people are high on it.
Darian Porter, Iowa State. Darian Porter. I'm not as originally I looked at his size, 6'3", 195.
Big dude.
He's a
he's
6-year
improved
senior.
Each year. It's not all-star improvement type.
Yeah.
Of stuff.
Again, I'm not in on him. Again, I don't know. I just think I don't think he's going to work in the NFL, but that's just me. Now, luckily, Dane doesn't. I mean, Dane has him way down there. Dane has him at number 12, which is still a third, fourth round guy. But
when you watch his film, I mean, he struggles with press coverage. Like he can't when you're on the line, getting on there. So where you were talking about zone coverage, I mean, when he's zoned, I mean, a lot better. But again, these things can be taught. But I would feel better again if you still had. What's his name? The cornerbacks coach. Who do we had? The defensive guys.
Oh yeah. Ex-Eagle, ex-Green Bay Packer. Put in the comments. Yeah, put in the comments. Who was our Al Harris?
Al Harris. Thank you. Yes.
It came to me. The liquid gold's hitting, so we're good. What's up, Kurt?
So, but I know, I really like a lot of these coaches that are coming in and doing. I think that's the one I would say is the step down is the cornerback coach, just because look where he went and did. He was. They were already talking about him being a defensive coordinator somewhere, but
Al Bundy.
Al Bundy.
Just me. That's funny.
So yeah, I mean, you're talking corner as well. I mean, is there something else in these top three that we are not thinking of or seeing that is always a possibility? You got wide receivers, defensive tackles, you got cornerback. We talked to wide receivers as well, running backs.
I guess it would be guard. You know,
I mean,
know
the
that's not-
offensive line. Let's talk about some of that because when we talk tackle, we talk about guard. Who would you be guard or would you be tackle? I'd be more about the tackle than I'd want
Here's
guard.
my thing. Yeah. We just keep bringing in guards like
Yeah.
they can grow on trees. I know everybody loves Tyler Booker, and I like a guy named Tate Ratledge in a second. I like Jonah Savane out of Arizona in a second. Outside of that, I'm kind of
There are two tackles I really like that aren't in the
yeah.
first.
Go ahead. Talk about the tackles.
Two tackles that I've been looking at. Okay, I love offensive
I
linemen.
know who it
used to-
is. Can I guess them?
Yeah,
No,
give
go
it to
ahead.
me. I want you.
No,
I want.
no.
I want. No, I
All
want
right.
you to. I want you to now. You
All
already
right,
made it.
I think you like Josh Connerly out of Oregon and Josh Simmons. Am I right or wrong?
Those are great ones, and I think
Oh,
they'll be
no,
out
I'm
of our
wrong.
reach.
Okay.
Yeah, you're wrong, but I think they're out of our reach. Just in the sense I want other players. My guys come in
Oh,
the
I got
third.
you, I got
My
you.
guys come in the
I
third.
just went top.
Yeah, no, I like that though. I love those guys. If I got either one of those, would not be upset.
They're not
Again,
like the best
No,
on
but-
paper. But yeah.
But if you got them further
Yeah.
back, I'd be happy with those picks, man. Those would be very good
Oregon.
guys that could possibly move into the starting position and actually compete for the starting position. Let's be real, man. That's what I want. I want competition. You know, other than just depth, I want competition.
I
tell me.
screwed up. Anyway, go ahead.
No, tell me.
Anyway,
Give me
yeah.
your other guy. Who was it?
No, because he's more of a guard for me, so I'm not even gonna say it. Just go ahead. Just get to you.
So my guy that I really liked, my first guy was a tackle. He is Wyatt Mullum from West Virginia.
Yeah.
Wyatt Mullum. He's a white guy, just kind of like, just you know, has that he has that demeanor where you're like, okay, he's not going to be much. You're like, you don't look at him and go, oh, he's not going to be at anything. It doesn't look like anything. But when you watch his film, man, that guy gets on people. He moves, he slides, he does something, and the fact that he's showing that he's dropped all the way into the third, possibly fourth round is just baffling to me because I love his style of play. And another guy I think is Charles Grant out of William and Mary, small school.
Dane has Wyatt as a guard,
He has a guard
in the
yes.
third, fourth
and
round.
And he played tackle, and he played amazingly this past year.
I'm just saying, just FYI.
Oh, but you're right. You're
you
right.
know, he's one of those guys who could possibly, some teams
Swing.
may see him as a guard.
Yeah, he's very just flexible, agile. Just that's what I loved about him at tackle. Just amazing job. He's 6'6". I mean, to me, like 300 something pounds. I like him. I like his film. It just definitely surprised me because I wasn't expecting that good of a film from a guy that was ranked at where he was at.
Yeah.
Another guy that was also
Charles Grant.
Charles
Wow.
Grant. Give
He's
it to
rated
me.
high. Dane has him rated high out of William and Mary, and he's a tackle.
Yes.
Charles Grant.
Charles
Third
Grant.
round.
Third rounder. Exactly. Another guy where I like if you watch his film.
Boy, you and
boom.
Dane, you're lockstep all of a sudden.
That's funny. That's funny that he says that. He backs up my thing because I don't have
I don't
the
think he hates Dane. He don't
no
like
no.
the way he
I
looks.
respect
He's
where
good
he
looking.
ranks people. He's usually got him on the
Good
point.
looking for Phil.
But Charles Grant, you look at him, man, he's a big dude. Just gets on people and just nastiness. What's he have about Charles Grant? I want to know a little bit.
Yeah. I'm gonna read. I was just gonna say that if you want, I'll read
Yeah.
you.
Both of them. I would like to see
four-year
what he's
starter at William and Mary. Grant locked down the left tackle position and former offensive coordinator Mario Acitelli's creative zone-based run scheme. So he's very good with the zone blocking. The Tribe ranked fourth in the FCS with 232.8 rushing yards per game. After enrolling as a 240-pounder, wow, 240, with very little football experience, he blossomed into a weapon at the blind side and was the only offensive lineman named a finalist in the 2024 Walter Payton Award, which recognizes the top offensive player in FCS. Offensive player.
Wow.
Grant is light-footed, long-armed, and flashes a competitive edge through the whistle. A great place to start for an offensive lineman, though his agility jumps off the screen. Savvy edge defenders will key on the unpolished areas of his game, which is why he's going in the third round, right? Primarily his upside pads and frenetic pacing overall, Grant is a nimble big man with absolute outstanding range, length, movement, twitch, but he needs to develop better patience and muscle mass. That's normal with an to match up with the NFL competition. His traits of the future NFL starter are best in a zone-heavy offense. So there you go. There's a scouting report on 6'5", 309, 5-year senior out of William and Mary.
Now, don't get me wrong. I still got to watch a lot more tackles and stuff to see to be really able to kind of to hone them in. But I know those are two guys that jumped off the page and their level
That's good
of
that you
play.
brought him up because I've known of the player, but I haven't really looked into the player. And this is a guy you can get in the third round.
And it would be a
keep that in
threat
mind.
towards that starting position. Yes, he may not be that starter, but he's going to be a threat to possibly take that position.
And this is where I agree with Phil, because a lot of these other YouTubers / NFL scouts they just want to cram offensive line down your throat in round one. And, the proof's in the pudding. Okay, if you have a top 5 pick and you're not in the market for a quarterback and there's an offensive lineman that's deserving, not this year. In my opinion, Will Campbell's not that guy. I like him, but he's not that guy.
He's not that guy.
Mbao, okay, So, okay, fine. Outside of that, stop trying to overdraft offensive linemen because you're worried. You have to coach them up. Our best offensive line in history was a bunch of ragtag bunch of guys that were coached up. Just look at 30 miles away from me. You got Jeff Stoutland. That's all he does is take average to slightly above average talent and makes them great.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do, people. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, I mean, and there's just some guys. I mean, they're not coming off of injuries and stuff. I know Josh Simmons, for example, has been a guy that we've talked about. Amazing talent,
love him,
but coming
love
off
him.
of an ACL tear from last year. So, it's just
or at bottom of the first. If I'm an Eagle fan or somewhere around there, if I'm the Chiefs, it makes a lot of sense. Yep.
Yeah, so those are two names. Again, as I'm diving more and more into the draft and getting some of these guys, I'm getting some pet. Those guys that you really just love, and your pet cats, and it's just heartbreaking again when you see some of those leave. But it's amazing when you draft them, because that's where you feel like there's usually always at least one guy that you get into this team. BB was my guy last year, and man, that was extremely excited, especially with the fact that we were able to trade back in the first round, pick up that additional pick, and that's where you picked up BB. That's where
if
I
you
love
guys
it.
remember, Phil was. Yeah, I can't. I have to say it a certain way. I almost said it.
No,
Phil
go
was
ahead.
hot on Baby. I was gonna say Phil was hard on Baby, but he was aggressively like, don't forget about Cooper Beebe. And when we made the trade and he was there for us, this is why I like trading down, people, because we got everything we wanted and we still got Cooper Beebe. You know what I mean? We still got Beebe. That was awesome. Baby was the best.
I don't believe
that was
so,
the best
Curtis.
pick.
He said, did Lockett sign anywhere?
No, he's out there. Look for after the draft. You got Will Hernandez. Like, we need another guard. We keep signing guards left and right. So I don't think it's going to be Will Hernandez at this point. So after the draft, we'll see what happens. This is that scenario that if we get wiped out, right, and we decide to go in another direction,
there's a lot of
at
talent
12,
in this draft,
or if we trade down and somebody's, it sneaks us out of a wide receiver that we like, then maybe we go a different position that we're not thinking, corner, edge rusher, and then we circle back with a Lockett, and we get to keep our comp picks after the draft. So that's the idea. I don't think Lockett is going to be a fit here because he's a slot guy. We're looking for an outside X guy, but who knows?
Well, I mean, here's the thing: if you're getting a wide receiver and you got your outside guy and you want somebody that comes in, like I'm okay with that. I definitely would be about it, but I definitely still need that other guy out there. And Tolbert can't be that answer. Mingo can't be that answer. Those are the guys like, oh, so and so's out of the starting lineup. Who's going to be in there? Oh, that's going to be Mingo. Oh, that's going to be Tolbert. No, that's what that's the answer.
I would like to see that. He could probably get maybe a little over a half rotation.
I would probably say a little bit half. I'd be half.
And then
just straight face
vertebrae at that point.
Yeah. Nose broken.
We definitely have to use mattresses like we did the old day. Supposedly, if you tuck your head, everything follows. But
we'll tuck it.
I don't know about that. Guys, what about the tight end position in the
Man,
draft?
tight end position, that's a good one. We talked about Tyler Warren in the first, right? With the possibility of people talking him, the Cowboys pick. I've seen him in some of these mock drafts at the NFL, and I'm like, okay, okay, that's really what we're gonna do there.
Mm-hmm.
And just you got that dumbfounded, just. But you have some talent here that if you did, you could pair him up with Ferguson and hope that Schoonmaker kind of makes his debut at some point. But I'm not against it, man, because I would love a second weapon at the tight end, being able to do 2 tight end sets, and both of those guys really being somebody that you have to cover. And then you got your wide receivers doing their mess, so you really kind of mix it all up. So, is there any guys that jump out at you that you may have seen? I know you have said about Terrence Ferguson, and so I got to give you that credit because I did watch some more film
Oregon
on that.
Zone.
Yep.
Phil's alma mater. Yeah, and I know you liked fanning out of Bowling Green.
I did
just to
until I
give
watched
you,
more and more, and you kind of question some of his temperament. Let's just say.
Yeah, well, Chris May brings up Arondé Gadsden, the second ex-Cowboy. He was a receiver at Syracuse. He's looking like a 4th-round guy per Dane Brugler. Again, I wouldn't have a problem with it, but like Mark Hutchinson, I think we're good at tight end, but you can never have enough. There's a guy out of all these, like Mason Taylor. I like Mason Taylor. To me, Mason Taylor, outside of Tyler Warren, I think Mason Taylor is the best all-around tight end in the draft. But there's a guy that I love, and some people don't love him, but I love him because of his athleticism. To me, he's not the Cowboys type of pick, though. Elijah Arroyo out of Miami. I like this player. He's a very athletic guy with the ball in his hands. He's explosive. But are they going to draft him? It's like, I don't want to get too excited about a player because I'm not the draft guy that we're not going to get here in Dallas. That's where I'm looking at. That's why I bring up a Terrence Ferguson, who is probably a 3rd-round guy.
That's a good spot,
maybe
too.
a 4th. Yeah. But Terrence Ferguson, again, he's a 4-year guy out of Oregon. I like him. So
my guy that once I've been watching it, I can understand people's fixation with Loveland. I get it. Some of those guys. Ferguson, I watched his film. He got some amazing hands, man. Catches the ball with his hands. But there's a guy that I like, and he is not until maybe the 5th or 6th round. This is my guy from Texas Tech. Jalen Conyers.
Jalen Conyers.
So as I was watching tape of the running back for them, the tight end was what caught my eye with some of these blocks, and I mean, this is a big guy, 6'4". I saw all of a sudden I kind of switched my focus to the tight end a little bit and started watching him, and just a big dude, but was definitely really involved in that tight end. So yes, a day 3 tight end.
You were watching Taj Brooks. You were watching Taj Brooks and you stumbled on Jalen Conyers.
I did.
Shout out to the Red Raiders.
So I got to give him a Red Raiders. Yeah, it definitely has produced talent, random talent. So to see that again, I was looking at with a running back, and then all of a sudden this tight end kind of flashes. So I had to see some of what he was doing, and he was a guy that was jumping out off the page, and but I want to see more about what he wasn't doing and why is he farther back there. So I still have to dive deeper into that, but he was a guy that definitely jumped out into the page for me. So
yeah, I mean I would agree, and I'm looking at these running back ratings.
Can you do me a favor? What does he say about Jalen?
Yeah, sure.
That would be awesome because that would actually give us a lot of insight.
Yeah,
maybe he can tell us the negatives.
No, yeah, Jalen Conyers. I gotta go. He actually has him rated pretty darn good. Let me see. Where does he have him rated? Jalen Conyers is 15. He's got him in a 6th round out of Texas Tech.
Okay, right there, 5th, 6th. Man, whoa, look at that.
6'4", 260. A 1-year starter at Texas Tech. Conyers was a hybrid tight end and former offensive coordinator Zach Kitley's version of the air raid. A Red Raiders fan growing up in West Texas, he made a stop at Oklahoma and Arizona State before finding his way to Lubbock. Conyers has a basketball background. That's good. That's good. Which shows his quick-footed movements, his lower body, and flexibility in the upper half, easily adjusted at the catch point. He is very good at. I'm not done reading, but I'm not sure about his blocking. Dallas likes two-way guys, but we'll see. He isn't polished as a route runner. He is not polished as a route runner or blocker, which I kind of figured. But he can sink. That would be great under Tony Romo. I know he would love this type of player. He could sink, and there's plenty of room for maturation in both areas. Overall, Conyers has NFL athleticism and talent. Whether or not he can fine-tune the details will determine his chance of carving out a long-term role as a number 2 tight end option. So again, you're talking later in the draft, which would go to what Mark Hutchinson is talking about. Nothing early. You're not talking early. Remember, we got 2 6th-round picks. We got 2 7th-round picks. A guy like that is more likely than somebody in the first couple rounds.
And this is what I like to bring: realistic thoughts, realistic possibilities out there. Who's the realist? Oh, I would love to pick up Ferguson in the 6th round. But it's not a possibility. That's
realistically, yes. Realistically, that's what you want. And as long as we're realistic about not getting a Pro Bowler at every position, but that's not fair, and that's not likely for any team to go out and have to draft. So
I gotta give him credit for finding ones, though, man. There's been a lot more found on this, mining.
Another Jaden. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, there's Jalen. At least you got an L-I-N.
I don't mind J. Oh yeah,
Jalen.
This is Jalen.
Jalen.
Almost. Yeah, Jalen.
Jalen.
Oh shoot. Oh, this is great.
No. But I think that's a great one because tight end is something that a lot of people aren't talking about. Even safety. I think safety is another one. We talked originally about Starks from Georgia, and I think that's really the only safeties we've had. Have you looked into safeties? Because I think the only
I
one
like some of the late safeties. It's funny. Dane is not very nice to the Texas guy Makuba. And he's very nice to Nick Imanwari, who
I like
athlete,
who's your main safety? If you had to pick one safety, who's your safety?
If I had to pick my main safety, it would be Andrew Makuba out of Texas.
Okay, yeah, and I think that's a very good one. So it's kind of crazy that he has that. I am big on Xavier Watts from Notre Dame.
Yes, I like him. Big boy. Yes.
So if you were going to get him, and you somehow, I think he's a leader of a defense. And he can just roam around that whole field. And that's kind of what you need back there sometimes, especially with our crazy-ass defense.
I could give you his background. Yes. He's 6'2", 205. He has a better
And who's
I was just saying
Watts?
Makuba because he's a playmaker, but I think Makuba is just, he could do anything. He's small. Dallas is not going to, I'm telling you, Clemente, Dallas will not draft Makuba. I'll be shocked if they did. They were at his pro day, but they were at University of Texas's pro day. They were seeing Xavier Watts fits the mold. I like Watts actually better than Starks, to be honest with you. Starks, I think Watts is a true center fielder, but this is what Dane has on him. A 2-year starter at Notre Dame. Watts played the field safety position in former defensive coordinator Al Golden, ex-NFL coach, or maybe he's back in the NFL coach in the NFL. Al Golden's 4-2-5 base scheme, lining up mostly too high in the box, with one high and slot reps. That actually fits well for Dallas. After toiling on the offense upon his arrival in South Bend, he moved to rover linebacker. Wow. Before finding his home at free safety, where he became one of the most decorated players in Irish history. He collected 13 combined interceptions, allowing 0 touchdown catches. That's impressive, people. Over the past 2 seasons, becoming the first 2-time consensus All-American at Notre Dame since 1993. Without imposing size or high-level explosiveness, Watts has been a slow burn evaluation for NFL scouts, but his playmaking instincts are indisputable on tape. Although his aggressive nature leads to occasional mistakes, he plays with quick, decisive trigger, and his tone-setting toughness pops versus, and it goes on and on. Dane is
good.
He's crazy. He projects as an NFL starter and would fit best in a split safety zone heavy scheme. Cowboys,
Boom.
in which he can play too deep and underneath zone. Yeah, he's not an in the box guy. I don't want him in the box. He would come
Yeah,
in.
we already have
and be
Marquise Bell
better
for
than-
that. We already have Marquise
Yeah.
Bell for that. We don't need.
He would come in. I'm sorry, Malik, but he would come in and be better than Malik Hooker now. Now he's a guy that's a second round guy, but if I'm the Eagles sitting at 32, I would like a guy like this. But that's just me. Don't take him because I don't want you to have him. But
No, he'd be
Xavier
amazing.
Watts is very good. I really do like Xavier Watts. I do.
So one thing I would love to talk about, and I think we've talked about it. We've had strikes and flashes of talking about it. I want to talk about linebacker. Linebacker is always a possibility. It is something that has been mocked to us. Some ones that have been mocked to us actually made me have to go and watch some film that I would have not originally watched. Carson Schwinsinger.
Schwinsinger.
He was a guy that I did not know anything about. I had to go back and watch. I think you made a really good analysis when you said he's very Sean Lee-like.
Yes.
You see that very
Indeed.
instincts. Yeah, very good at filling holes, just punishes runners. I don't see the big pop. But
Very
he's
good
definitely
instincts.
there.
What I saw with him is, well, go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Continue, because I was gonna go on some.
Well,
other
like I
guys. Go
saw
ahead.
with him with like Schlesinger, I like him. I actually like him. Not better than Jihad, but I wouldn't draft Jihad in round 1, and I expect him to go Jihad somewhere in round 2. Jihad has the shoulder issues, shoulder surgery, not good for a linebacker. He could probably have a great long career, but Carson Schlesinger, you repeated my sentiments, and I think he's like a Sean Lee. He just diagnoses everything out the box. He is a coach on the field when it comes from the linebacker position. I think you hit the ground running with Schlesinger. He's not the biggest guy. He's only 242 pounds. But, man, he's a tackling machine. Isn't that what you want at the linebacker position? Stop trying to get cute. Go get yourself a Carson Schlesinger. Is he a fast guy? No. He just goes out and makes plays.
So yeah,
that's who I like.
I do like that, especially when you're coming to the top. Campbell, I'm very shaky on just because of the injuries, the histories there. Alabama linebackers in general, yeah, they're very powerful, but very usually heavily used. Let's just say. Jalen Walker was a guy that we that flashes. Obviously, I don't want to spend that high of a pick on a linebacker. But when some of these ones that I look at between the 3rd and the 5th round is kind of where I fall with some of these guys. You just talked about one that just really kind of I had no idea about, but then I started watching, and of course Ole Miss is representing here. Chris Paul Jr. I started watching some of his just a leader of that defense, making a lot of plays. Jeffrey Bassa, that one.
Yeah.
Again, I can't help but watch him while I was watching. He flashed out. There was some guys there, so that's why he just being able to see some of the plays, some of the screens that was happening, and him kind of diagnosing it and attacking. That was amazing to watch. Two guys I see way back between the 5th and 6th that I really like, that I would be okay if you didn't get any linebacker and then you pick these guys at 70, that 171, 174 kind of range, is Cody Lindenberg from Minnesota and Danny Stutman from Oklahoma. I know Stutman is a guy that we've talked about before, and a guy that came in and Dallas has talked to. But I would like to be interested. I would really be interested to see what he said about these guys, just because they're further back in the draft. And when I watched the film on these guys, Cody Simmons was another guy that really was in that thing. So there's 3 guys back there that I would feel good about plugging into this linebacker core and feeling like you've got a good solid player. Not maybe a starter, but a good rotational depth guy. Oh, Barnett, King or Barnett. I've seen some of his thing. King, I'm still balancing on. I'm still trying to get where King is at. Just because that's a badass name too. Let's just be real, Kobe King.
Yeah. Got a question, super chat. What teams do you see jumping ahead of Dallas? I just was reading an article, Mark Hutchinson, and I would assume you would mean in round 1 or maybe round 1, round 2. There's not going to be a lot of trading up. I think you're going to see teams trading up for the quarterbacks, maybe trading up for a running back. There's one team looking I mean, it's easy to look at. There's one team that's always aggressive, and look out for the Denver Broncos to be aggressive in this. That's, they sit at 20. Look out for Denver. Look out for teams with a lot of picks. So everybody's in front of us that has a lot of picks. Just looking at the most picks.
So the one that I see, if I could jump in as you're looking at them,
I
would say Seattle.
Yeah,
Seattle is 18, and I see Seattle after this offseason with the Cooper Cup. Oh, Dallas is in the mix, and Seattle's in the mix. Oh, Seattle got him. Oh, DeMarcus Lawrence leaving. You're not a leader. I'm a leader with Micah Parsons. There could be a new thing here, and then all of a sudden they jump ahead of us because they think we got to get better than this. Year. So I look at Seattle as a possibility of jumping up there just because of spite.
Though. They would come to us because Seattle's. I would think they would move to us. I don't know that they would go ahead of us, but possible.
I mean, they've been taking players that we wanted.
Wants a running back.
Yeah,
so
I mean, that makes sense of the trade of yeah, I guess that makes sense. But,
you know what I mean? But I'm with you, though. Seattle, Denver, and then looking at the teams, the only other team that might is Buffalo because they have a shit ton of picks. So
Chargers always tend to do that as well with us. Chargers tend to I don't say always, but I feel like with Harbaugh it is. It's always that's a possibility. So
I mean, I see Denver moving up for a running back. That's what I see. I see the smoke with us with Hampton. I see Denver trying to get ahead of us to get Hampton. And you know what? That's for me personally. That's fine because, dude, I could rattle off.
Denver definitely sees. I think Vinny says it right here. I mean, that could always be a huge possibility. He does see like a type of Denver guy.
20 though, Vinny. That's why.
He would have to trade up to get him and stuff. I don't know, man. You see some of the stuff where he's in that later, unless somehow somebody feels that they really need to get that running back. I mean, Dallas is that one that every team.
Beast.
Yeah,
I mean, he's got the size. He runs a 4.4.
But how many of these teams have starting running backs already? Like. When it comes past us.
I definitely hear that.
Yeah.
So I definitely hear that.
So when I look at that possibility with that, I mean, I think that's that kind of, those two do make a little bit more sense, especially if you're jumping up. Maybe jumping in front of a team that you think that would need it other than us. I mean, if you look at both of the teams, Dallas and then Miami. I mean, could you possibly say even Miami could need a running back? I know they had some good talent there, but they've had injuries as well too.
Yeah.
You
Miami.
wouldn't think it'd be their main guy. It wouldn't be their main guy. It wouldn't be their main need.
I don't think it would be their main guy. I'm thinking. I don't know what necessarily. I'm just saying
they need offensive line.
I'm saying like Buffalo because Buffalo has come up short. Right, they're getting to the precipice and they can't get over the hump. That's a team that's going to be aggressive. They have a lot of picks. They're going to try and get up high, not necessarily for a running back, but just to get up high to get one of those first-round graded talent type of guys. So if you're asking me what's the team, in my opinion, that can trade up, I think Phil hit it. It's Seattle, and I think it's Denver that could possibly be in the market for the same type of player that we are, and they're right in that range. I'm okay with trading back to 20. I don't want to drop any further than 20, but I need to know who you're coming up to get. And it's probably going to be a running back. But am I trading? Phil, are you trading away from of Amari and Hampton? I'm not saying I am or I'm not. But are you? I haven't thought about that really. If Hampton's there at 12, I would trade away from him. I know.
Away. I mean, it's hard. It's hard for me to. I can't. I mean, I know. Pick your guy, and if it's your guy, it's your guy. But I see a couple of other guys that are really close, and if they put in a little bit of hard work in the offseason, maybe they could be that type of guy. But I don't see that big of a gap to not feel like, okay, I have to get him at 12. That's not that Genty to gap, That's not that situation going on. But Hampton is 20 plus. I'm all about that. Anytime you can get him at the 20th spot on, that's where I think his value is.
And people are saying, well, I can't believe it. You guys are risking. It's all about maximizing value. If I can get value for something, I could take a quote unquote less talented player if the
gamble doesn't play off. Yeah.
If I'm picking that player in a more valued spot, like a Matthew Golden, people go, well, if you want Golden, take him at 12. Well, I get it, but
if you're looking at
draft. Look at what we're looking at.
Well, if you're looking at Hampton, and he's a bigger body, kind of sits up, he runs up. You got Damian Martinez stands up, he's a bigger guy. You got Judkins from Ohio State, big guy, stands up. Like there's guys there.
That might be your guy, people.
It might be. I really like that as well too. I mean, it's so. Yeah, again, there's a lot of possibilities here. Mark, thank you. I got to get you the music here.
Insert cash or select payment type.
Sonic Boom!
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
He goes, I will trade with Seattle and pick up Hampton in their second round pick. See, again, I if that would happen,
and I'm not. Again, if you look at Seattle, they have 50 and 52, Phil.
Mm-hmm.
So they have 18, 50, and 52.
Give me 52
so
and a trade back to that spot. I would be all about that, Mark. That would be amazing. Getting a second or third, honestly, it's like by this point, is there that much value? And again, I've heard this, that you're maybe not getting the top pick that you want, maybe that second round pick that you would love to get, and you really should deserve by the charts, but maybe you're getting having to settle for that third rounder. Are you still making that trade back? Let's say this is only these teams, and they're only going to be, that between that spots, and they're only going to be giving you that third. Would you still make that trade back?
Yeah, no, I would not. Loyal Cowboy, what's going on, brother? I got the 2 thumbnails ready. I was just going to talk to Phil. If he wants to join us, I'll add him to the thumbnail, but I know he's probably going to want to watch it and not just have to be locked in WrestleMania next weekend. Not this weekend, but next weekend. So let me know. But I threw something together for WrestleMania. We're going to stream it. Night 1 and night 2, not this weekend, but next weekend. So it's gonna be busy.
I think I might be there. I got some
right.
things.
I'll throw you on it, and then you could decide whether you don't have to. You can come and go. You've earned that. Loyal in tights, Vinny Hagen. Yeah, we don't need to see that.
We're men in tights. We roam around the forest looking for fights.
Right. I need to find my Rey Mysterio mask. I have one, but I don't know. It's just gets they put away around here. I don't know where it's at.
So Matt Barnes says Trey Harris from Ole Miss, wide receiver, get him in the second round. Like, there's some wide receiver again. If you're one of those guys that feel the running back, wide receiver, lineman, or corner, wide receiver, running back, whatever combination you have. Man, there's these guys, and Trey Harris is definitely one of those guys in that second round where you would feel like you got your value for it. Is it another guy that's like a Tolbert where, you're just, his production is there. Tolbert's production was there. Yeah, but
Tolbert had a lot of production last year for us.
Yeah. So, I mean, but I say that in the sense of coming, when you look at his college film in his senior year, there was production there, and he improved every single year, and which is what he's doing in the NFL. Tolbert is doing the exact same progression that he's doing it. Yeah. So Trey Harris, I mean, I would feel very good about if you got your running back, or you got your lineman, or you got your whatever in the first, and you had to settle with this. Yeah, he's a number 2, and he played a good portion of number 1 type of reps. So, I mean, it's just, and I think, what are realistic first 3 picks?
Yep, I was on it. That's it. Go ahead, Phil. What do you think?
No, you go ahead.
I don't know.
Realistically, oh man, it's just that. Well, exactly what Brian Schottenheimer said. Jack crap, man. We don't know. We have no idea, because you could go
West Virginia.
You could go a defensive edge that you've heard. You heard corners that coming in. You've seen them bring in running backs. You've seen them bring in wide receivers. You've seen them bring them in offensive linemen. It's like you've seen them kind of spread it all out to where you don't have these teams that can just automatically jump in front of you because they know that you're hunting for an offensive lineman. Oh, we went out and got a defensive tackle, so now they know you need a defensive tackle. No, not necessarily. So it's like you put yourself in a better position to where people can't guess your hand and your poker hand. But to say exactly, it's hard. I know where I want, and I know what a lot of the Cowboy Nation wants, but to say exactly what they want, man, woo.
Well, I would. Right now, Bill, this is what I would say: receiver, running back, cornerback.
Okay, so I will say wide receiver,
I'm not saying that's what I want.
cornerback, and then running back. So I think that's
Yeah,
how
and
they would.
again, the elephant in the room is we're not taking a big one tech in the top 3 rounds. So I'm in my mind, I think that's what they're going to do. Now they could go wide receiver, running back, defensive tackle. They could do that. But I think corner is slight in this draft. If you want one, you have to get one. Now they did get Elam on a 1-year deal. They do have the seatbelt coming back. It's it's what you think they feel about Overshown. Overshown wants to come back, and we could talk about that before we get out of here. Overshown wants to come back by game 1. That's where he's at. Now, he is way ahead, but I would start him out on PUP and ease him in. But, not to switch, but we got to talk about it.
No,
Thank God. He's finally in the number 0, Phil.
I think was that his big news? Was that the one that he was supposed to come out and say, and then not the announcement has happened or whatever? I think that might have been his secret. It was just the timing was totally off, or they told him to shut his mouth. But
Agent 0, baby. Thank God you got rid of that unlucky
man.
number
Let's
13.
be real, man. Your jersey sales are going to be there. There can be a 0. There can be a double
already
0.
selling shit.
I haven't seen it. I wanted to go and buy one, but I did not see it. Hear that? I already have that thing, and if there's a special team, if there's a guy in these first 3 rounds that you get, that's also worthy in my sense as well. They say 0 will be back in November. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, man. He just looks good. His handler, everything about it. It's just it all makes sense. And when it's like Captain Planet. And when these powers combined, they get unleashed into the NFL, and Agent 0 will finally be revealed.
Yeah. If Freddie says, please remind Jerry not to stand in front of their draft board. Yeah, he's a little senile, Freddie. That's what he does. It's more important that the camera person understands.
Wouldn't it be really good for a shot if I'm right here at the draft board? Like,
yeah. Well, unless it's a bogus draft board, because we were there. It's all screens, right, Phil?
Yeah, all
so
screens.
They could put up a draft board that's a shit show, and that's what I'd be doing. I'd be sending up, put up the ruse fake draft board and let's do a video. Let's have some Momo and Philly. Sorry, no offense, thinking that. That's our draft board. You know what I mean? So that's what's funny. No offense, Momo. That was just
I'm saying, I wouldn't be against that. That's one of my guys. It's like I love.
Who's
there's
that?
3 of them, and
Ibuka?
Ibuka is one of those guys, man. I really, really love his game, and
I love it too. So that's why I want to trade back, and I'll have every option to me. And if it's still golden, okay. I love it. Linda, where you been? We're getting ready to get out of here, Linda. But how are you, Linda?
Yeah, that one went a little bit longer than I thought.
No relation.
Yeah, I went. Oh yeah, we were actually tight in that I was talking about in the 6th.
I know. I told her before.
That's awesome.
That's not my relative. I'm like, we're just playing.
But no, man, a lot of good draft talk. I think that got some more names out there that we obviously haven't been able to talk about. Maybe some people that they can look up, and when the draft is coming, these names pop up. They're not unfamiliar, and I think that's what's nice as you watch later on in the draft. Oh, remember that guy? Remember this guy? Oh, they actually picked him like here and stuff. Oh man, he was a 4th or 5th rounder. He got picked in the 2nd. Like, we love to talk about where they fall, and then the opposite happens after the draft. It's they got picked in the 1st round and he's really a bust, or he's really a 5th round talent. Yeah. So it goes both ways, man. And so that's what's the justification of some of these studying of this films and stuff as well. Bryan, man, good lunchtime chat for our first one on this channel.
Yeah, I'm looking at the clock. I can't believe we've been talking for over an hour and a half. Time flies when we do these things. This is my favorite time of year, Phil. I've said it before. Yeah, I love the games. Don't get me wrong. I love when the football starts. But with that comes a lot of stress and a lot of headaches, because that's just what we've had lately. Here, everybody has optimism. Everybody thinks they're, and I enjoy this time of year. Always
we're 3 guys away. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, things
No,
change.
I'm saying in general with every team. You have your different how many guys.
Yeah,
like,
everybody has optimism. Everybody thinks that
we're
they're
like 5, 6
that.
guys away.
I love it. So, again, this is awesome, man. This flew.
Yeah, it
really did.
And I feel like we can keep going for another couple of hours, but we'll save that for a little bit for the draft. So,
but I pounded this cup of liquid gold, and I do have to go to the bathroom. So
That's a perfect timing then. So, Game Time, I appreciate you coming through. Anything you want to say to the folks before we get out of here?
I'm going to work on my 4.0. I don't know that it'll be out tonight, probably tomorrow, but just make sure your bell notifications are on both channels, please. Please, please. And yeah, I might do it. I'm going out to dinner tonight. Once Phil said, and my wife heard me, that we were doing an afternoon stream. She's like, well, maybe we'll go out to dinner.
Boom.
So I'm going to go out to dinner. Maybe I'm thinking about doing a late night live for a little bit for the channel members. So stay tuned for that tonight, possibly. Either way, we'll do one soon. But I'm thinking tonight, maybe for an hour or so, we'll come on and we'll talk about what channel members want to talk about. So
That's very nice.
That's what I got going. Getting close, baby. Getting close.
Yeah, I appreciate that as well, Oscar, man. Yeah, let's get that push to 2,000. Hopefully, we can get this into the
definitely
draft
do that,
time where
please.
we're going to do a little bit more streaming, be out there a little bit more as well. It's just dedicated time for the draft. I think that's what I love, and really the chat here, talking back and forth. This is what it's all about, and this is kind of my my vacation from my every day-to-day grind that I have. So one thing I appreciate you don't forget to do.
Ring that bell, everybody.
Damn right, guys. Take care.
Oh. Para allá, que me gusta la manera que tú lo mueves, cómo te entregas, cómo lo bailas. Okay, move it like this, move it like that. Si tú quieres ven para acá, voy para allá. Que me gusta la manera que tú lo mueves, cómo te entregas, cómo lo bailas.
Con J-Con y con la matrícula. Ella combate amiga, dice que todo se va. Sáquenme la botella que funda para gastarle. Esta noche tú y yo nos vivimos la película. Luce cámara, la acción después en mi recámara. En el duelo no se sabe quién ganará. So baile, baby. Ese seguro y retrocede. Que me encanta la manera en que tú lo mueves.
Solo pégate un poquito, mami, que yo quiero enseñarte lo que yo tengo para ti, lo que tengo para ti. Sé que te va a encantar como me tuyo. Dale, muévelo.
Turn it off.
Party pooper.